So, do you really need to have a pageant coach for your pageant? Well, in this episode, I'm going to walk you through a very simple 3-part exercise that you can do to honestly determine whether you need to hire a pageant coach or not. Hey there, welcome back. My name is Alycia Darby. I am the host of the Win a Pageant podcast, where you are right now to teach you how to win your pageant. Now, as a pageant coach, there's a little bit of bias that I love coaching, but I know that pageant coaching is not for everybody, and it sometimes can be difficult to know whether you should hire a coach or not. So in this episode, I want to break it down for you and give you a simple strategy to help you identify if pageant coaching is for you. And if it is, I want you to make really good decisions about it, okay? So that's what we are talking about today. Now, the short answer of do you need a pageant coach is actually no. You do not need a pageant coach in order to compete in a pageant. However, this is the major issue that I have with pageants in general, and it's this. So often, contestants like yourself are being communicated about what is necessary in order to compete versus what is necessary in order to win. So most women that are deciding whether or not they should hire a pageant coach, usually it's because they want to win. So when you ask your director, now, do I need to hire a pageant coach? She's probably like, nope, you don't. Because you don't need to hire a pageant coach in order to compete in a pageant. But in order to win a pageant, completely different story, okay? That's what we're going to talk about today. And this answer is a little bit more complex, hence the need to have the 3-part, this is like an easy exercise. I'm going to walk you through it. Now, here's kind of the big picture, what I want you to imagine. So imagine that you want to go skiing, okay? You're like, I've never tried skiing before. I really want to go skiing. Okay. Well, you do not need to have a ski coach in order to ski. You can just show up at a mountain somewhere, fly yourself to Park City, get a lift ticket, rent some skis or a snowboard or something. And you could even take one class while you're there. You could say, you know what? I'm going to sign up for the beginner class and I'm going to take a class. So this is what I did. When I first learned how to snowboard, I was like, I have no idea how to do this. I was like in my late 20s, I think. And so I said, I'm going to get a lesson. I'm going to sign up for a lesson. And it was like, whatever, a 2-hour lesson or something. I read in my board. And it got me through the day. It allowed me to get down the bunny hill without, wrecking myself or spraining an ankle or something like that. And I had a good enough time doing it. However, if I wanted to go to the Winter Olympics, I'm going to need a coach. And if I want to win a gold medal at the Winter Olympics, I'm going to need a great coach. So do you see the distinction? Just by this, it depends on your level of competition, okay? When I competed in my very first pageant ever, I often say that I accidentally won because genuinely, I hardly did anything in order to prepare for the pageant. And it's not like all the other girls were terrible. It was just I happened to rise a little bit above the others, okay? I was not a 10 by any means. Maybe I was a 7, maybe I was a 5 to 7 in most categories, but because my 5 to 7 range was a little bit higher than other people's maybe 4 to 6 range, I happened to win the thing. And that was at a local level. I think there were 12 of us in total competing, okay? So you see the difference. I didn't have a coach for that, and I honestly didn't need a coach. I could win the thing without it, But the difference is the level of competition. By the time I got to the state pageant, I was competing against people who had a lot of training. They'd been doing it for a really long time. They were often 9s and 10s across the board. And so my little 7 would pale in comparison to that, okay? Now, what often you will see in the pageant industry in general, worldwide, is that most winners at the local level, so this would be, your county or your town, most of those women actually do not have pageant coaches. They're winning the pageant without a pageant coach. That tends to be because it's much smaller. Oftentimes, the girls that are competing are naturally thin. Maybe they've just been kind of working with the American Heart Association for a few years so that they're they have unshakable confidence because they're just like, no one's ever beat them down with their confidence. So they've never lost anything. So they're like, you know what? This is how I was when I competed at the local level. And so I naturally won the thing. Okay, but this is not necessarily the case at the state and especially at the national and international pageant level. Every winner and I would love to know if you've ever met somebody that didn't have a coach in some area, then I'd love to hear about it. Every winner at the national or international level has a coach. They have to in order to be able to compete at that great level. Okay, so we're going to get to the exercise in a moment because you might still not need someone. I don't know. Let's see. I've got a thing for you here. And also I'm going to help you to know if you do have to hire a coach, how do you decide the type of person that you need? Okay. Well, the first thing I want to share with you is that if you do hire a coach, you want to think about, you want to hire a great pageant coach. If that's the thing that you're wanting to win, you want to hire a pageant specific coach because they're going to have insights and interests in the things that you need to have access to. That's who you're going to need. But you also need to consider what are the other things that you're hoping to get out of the coaching experience. So for you, that might be like, you know what? I just really want a best friend. Like I'm just looking for somebody I really feel like I could connect with. And I just want to get to know her better. I want to be in her vortex. I want her to know me so that I can have that connection with this person. That is a legitimate reason why to hire a coach, to just get in their space, to get access to the people they know and the information and knowledge that they have. It could be that you're like, I really want to have a sisterhood of other women, and I can get that in my pageant, but my pageant doesn't have that many touch points with these women, or it's really not that long. And so I really want to have like a sisterhood of gals that I can already start nurturing relationships with across the world. Okay. That might be something you're looking for. You might be like, you know what? If I'm going to hire a coach, I need regular accountability touch points. Like I need someone checking in nonstop, being like, hey, where are we at with this? Hey, did you do that yet? Maybe that's something that you would really benefit from. Maybe you're thinking like, I love the idea of a coach, but so many of them have these specialties. And I would really love to work with a team that has a variety, that I can get the interview skills, that I can get the on-stage coaching training, that I can get the behind the scenes stuff, that I can get this knowledge from a bunch of different areas. Or maybe you're like saying, you know what? I want skills for life because I get that the pageant is just a season in my life. And even if I go all the way up and I win all the pageants at some point, I'm going to be relinquishing these titles and I wonder what's on the other side of it. So you might say, I'm really looking for life skills. I don't just want to know what hand do I put on my hip or, eye contact with the judges. Like, tell me more, get me deeper than all of that. Okay. These are the things, by the way, that our clients want. Okay. But I'm curious to hear from you. When you think about a coaching experience, maybe you've hired a coach in the past, whether it went well or it didn't go well. Maybe you're considering hiring a coach in the future. In the comments below, let me know, what is it that you are looking to get out of your coaching experience beyond, of course, the end goal of winning the pageant? But what other things would you want to be a part of that coaching experience? Now, as you have that in your mind, that's going to help you as we go through this next piece. Now, this is the 3-part exercise that I mentioned to you, okay? This is going to help you understand, do I need a pageant coach? And then if so, how do I go about that? Or do I not need a coach at all, okay? So first thing that I want you to do, and you could either do this with us together here or maybe just write out the steps and come back to this exercise, but I highly recommend doing the exercise, okay? Don't skip it. Don't skip it, okay? All right, so step 1, first, write down the specific areas of competition that you are going to be scored in, okay? So these are the areas that, interview, fun fashion, on stage question. What are the areas that you are going to be scored on? Now, very realistically, score yourself from a 1 or even a 0, if you want to use a 0, like you're like, yep, I have no idea what I'm doing in this area, to a 10. 10 being, I am perfect. There is absolutely no way that I could possibly improve in this area. As an example, that could be somebody who is a competitive dancer. And so in the area of talent, she's like, look, I am a competitive dancer and I win all over the world. So I can confidently put a 10 in that area. maybe somebody that has, walked in New York Fashion Week for many, many years professionally. You're a professional model. So you're like, I really have the runway piece down. I can confidently say that I'm a 10 in that area. Maybe you're like, my wardrobe is but I love wardrobe. I'm a stylist professionally. I can confidently say that I'm a 10 in that area. But what I want you to do, this is so important, is you have to have a true understanding of yourself. Where am I at in this scale? Okay. And don't score yourself like the judges would score you. Don't be like, oh, they would give me a 7. No, what would you give you based on your potential for growth? That's what we're looking at here, okay? So I want you to genuinely say, you know what, in this area, I know I could do so much better. I don't know what's holding me back, but I know I could be a 10. I'm going to say a 2 because that's how much potential growth that I possibly could have, okay? That's how I want you to score yourself, okay? So step 1, areas of competition. Step 2, next to each of those areas, score yourself. Honestly, from 0 or 1 to 10. 10 being like perfecto, okay? Now, here's part 3 of this, okay? And this is kind of like this could go either way, all right? Within this, I want you to ask yourself, of all of these areas of competition, what do I need to do to get from wherever I'm at to a 10? That's why you hire a coach, to close the gap. Here's where I'm at right now. I want to be right here. Help me close the gap. So I want you to ask yourself honestly, what do I need to do to get from a 2 to a 10? Or it might be from a 7 to a 10. It might be from a 0 to a 10. What do I honestly need to do to get from here to here? Okay. So step 1, you've written down all the categories. Step 2, you've scored yourself. Step 3, in the third column, you're writing, what do I need to do? Here's how you know if you need to hire somebody for this. When you look at the column that asks you what you need to do, this is where you need to actually say to yourself, first of all, do I even know what I need to do here? Do I know what I need to? Sometimes you already know. You know what you need to be doing. You might just not be doing it, but you know what you need to be doing. That's a good thing. This is helpful for you to at least know what you're doing and what you ought to be doing rather, right? So that's it. That's an indicator that you might not need to hire a coach if you know what you need to do. But as you go through this list, if you get to an area where you're like, honestly, I do not know what I need to do for this. I have no idea. Every time I show up, I feel confident for interview. I think that it's going really well. My scores are so low that I know I am wrecking the whole pageant by interview alone. Or you might be saying to yourself, you know what? I get on stage and it's like I freeze like a deer in the headlights. I'm fine all the way up until on-stage answer. And then they give me an on-stage answer and I just blabble on forever. I need to stop blabbling. How do I close the gap? I'm a 2. I blabble all the time, but I want to be a 10. I want to be eloquent. I want to be sharp. I want to be witty. I want to be all the things. How do I close that gap? And if you're like, I don't know how, you need to hire a coach. If you know how, if you know what to do and you know how to do it, then you might not need a coach. Maybe you need an accountability partner. Maybe you need somebody to kind of maybe you just need that one-time ski lesson to kind of just make sure you're pointed in the right direction type of thing. That might be all that you need. But for most of you, competing at a national and international level, even at the state level, it's likely you've competed before and you don't know what you're doing wrong. And so you're like, Alycia, I know I could be better at this. I know that my potential is like the difference between a 2 and a 10. I have so much potential in this. I can't figure it out. I do not know. I genuinely have been doing this for forever and I'm in the top 5 all the time. So I'm doing something right, but I cannot freaking figure out what is the game changer. Where is my gap? How do I even close this gap? You need a coach. That is what a great pageant coach is able to do, is they're able to look at, okay, where are you? What's actually going on here? This is where in the previous episode, I shared with you the difference between a mentor and a consultant and a coach and an accountability partner and all those different areas. And what a great pageant coach will do is fill all of those areas. And so she'll be able to look at you and say, now, theoretically speaking, this is the thing that you could be doing wrong. What if we tried this strategy with you this time. Now, some of you, you're doing the same stuff over and over every year and you can't figure out why you're not improving. It's because you need a new strategy. That is going to require a new coach, a new perspective, okay? That is why you might need a coach. Okay, so let me review this exercise with you again. And I have one more point that I want to make that's very important, okay? First, you're going to write out the areas of competition you're actually getting scored in, okay? You're going to write out next to it, how would you score yourself based not on what the judges would score you as, but based on your potential that you could grow into, okay? How's your potential? Score yourself. Now, next, how do you close the gap? From your potential of a 2, a 4, a 6, whatever you wrote down, to a 10, how do you close that gap? What do you need to do, and how do you do it? Maybe you're like, I got to stop stuttering. Barry, I'm stuttering. I'm stuttering right now because I'm thinking of that. You're like, I want to stop stuttering. How do I do that? I need to stop doing this. I need to stop being so nervous. I just get so nervous that my brain goes blank. I just can't even think. How do you do that? If you know the answer to what you need to do and how you need to do it, then you might not need to hire a coach. But if you do not know what is going wrong, you do not know what you need to do to change anything, and or you don't know how to go about it, that is when you need to hire a pageant coach. Now, here's the point I want to share with you. There's a big difference between hiring an any old person and hiring somebody excellent. Anytime I've made an investment, I've always gotten more out of the investment that requires some skin in the game. And the reason is that you get more than you pay for is because oftentimes that's a good investors know that's a good investment when you always get more than you pay for. But some of you are saying to yourself, you know what, I don't know, pageant coach, do I need to hire a pageant coach? Like whatever, I'll just get this any old person who like can just give me a couple tips. Well, guess what you're going to get? A couple tips. That's going to be the end of it. So what I want to encourage you to know, and this is what we talked about earlier, is what else would you want to be a part of your pageant coaching experience? Are you looking for deep friendships? Are you trying to build life skills way beyond pageantry? Are you wanting to have a network of people that can help you maybe build a business even after your pageant experience? When you think about things beyond just what are the skill sets I need to close the gap, you will have a different view of how you hire, because you'll realize this isn't just, I need a couple quick tips to tell me which hand to put on my hip, but you realize, no, I actually need something even bigger than this. And that's the difference between hiring a ski coach to just get you to the Olympics and hiring a ski coach to help you win the gold medal. They are different people, okay? I just want you to know that makes a difference. Who you hire makes a difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this has helped. I'll see you in the next episode.